Hey founders, I'm gonna start making non-technical founders Q&A every day, and I want you to send me questions, any question, any kind of question related to the non-technical founder way. So please go ahead and start sending. Tomorrow I want to have your question here, right? Today these guys are gonna ask me questions, and then later we're gonna see what happens. Yeah, you're talking about the catch-22 that every founder has, right? When they're starting, if you're non-technical, you cannot build your product straight away. So you're gonna need to pay for someone else to build it. That's reality. Unless, of course, you have a technical co-founder, and then that's a whole other story. How do you escape the catch-22? I think the answer is friends and family, right? There's no other way. I mean, there's friends and family, and there's crowdfunding. Those are the two ways for you to be able to invest in your product without having a product. Because if you go to VCs or angel investors, or any seed fund, you can raise funds being a non-technical founder without a product, but it's way harder. So a friends and family round or a crowdfunding campaign is usually better. Yeah, when you say should I bootstrap, I guess you're saying should I start my product without a technical co-founder? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think those are different questions. In my way of thinking, bootstrapping is by means that you will fund yourself whatever is needed, and then you're not gonna raise funds, right? And that's a whole different question we can address later. But if you're talking about looking for a CTO or a technical co-founder, I say by all means do it. Always look for a CTO or a technical founder, but don't stop because you couldn't find one, right? Create a product using no code solutions. Create a product using a WhatsApp or Facebook group. Do whatever you need to test your hypothesis, and not only test, right? Create a real business without building tech, because once you have a real business, it's easier to attract tech talent. I think that's my take on it. Yeah, the insights about HustleCon experience. I think what I learned the most by going to HustleCon is that there is a community around. I'm guessing it's probably around the hustle, right? That thinks about creating profitable businesses even if you don't have access to venture capital. And of course, I know of other communities, but they are usually tech related, like the guys from MicroConf or the guys from Basecamp. Those guys, they are all usually SaaS founders, very techy, and HustleCon brought a lot of non-technical founders together. They are looking to create profitable businesses, even if those businesses are not tech related, but even if they are as well. I think that's one key insight. Oh man, I think HustleCon is unique in so many ways, but I'm biased when I talk about this, but the most important one for me is that it gets a lot of non-technical founders together, right? That's unique. Usually when you have a startup event, it is very, at least mixed between tech people and non-technical people, right? But it's usually very techy, yeah. How to iterate your idea without coding? Man, I'm getting ready to interview a guy that's really kicking ass by using Webflow, Airtable, Google Docs, and a lot of no-code solutions to create their product. And he really did it by himself. And his product is called MentorPass. You should check it out at mentorpass.co, right? And I think creating an initial version without coding is something everyone should do. But if you find it overwhelming, you shouldn't be blocked by it, because many people find it overwhelming. That said, it is something you should definitely try to do. I'm learning about this, right? I'm just getting to know for real how US investors operate with non-technical founders, because we didn't have data about it, and I'm starting to ask my network, our clients, the people I work with, how is their experience. But so far, I think you should look for investors the same way you should if you were a technical founder, or if you had a technical co-founder. You should look for people that you have great chemistry with first. The bias against non-technical founders in investors, I'm discovering it's much more present in accelerators than in angel investors or VC funds. So, for example, Rachel Miller from Close Gap said that only 1 out of 30 investors she talked recently mentioned, or at least had objections against Close Gap because they didn't have a technical founder or CTO. So many red flags. Yeah, so many red flags, man. The first and most important one is, should you be developing a product right now? I think that's the main decision, because once you decide you're gonna create a custom software, you're married to that product, and you're gonna have to keep investing a ton of money in it in the long run, and in the short run, forever, right? So yeah, that's the main red flag. Should I build a product, or can I start in any other way? It depends. It always depends. You cannot think about dev shops versus CTO versus an employee. It always depends on your ability to manage a tech team. It depends on the dev shop. It depends on each individual in the process. So my take on this is that this shouldn't be a general discussion. This should be a case by case scenario study, right? Yeah, you're talking about the whole tech team, right? Yeah. Not one person.
Yeah.
Right. UX and design first, right? The ability to speak the language of the founder, to represent the vision of the business without the founder needing, the business founder I'm talking about right now, needing to micromanage every decision. And then experience in tech is something that's very important. And yeah, the designers and the coders should talk the same language as well. Well, yeah, I think that's it. Great question. I'm going to use this opportunity to talk about Max Hellerstein and Cyrus Summerlin from Down to Shop. They were just recognized by Forbes as the 30 under 30 for consumer technology. I guess that's the category. those guys are unstoppable, and those guys are the ones that made us start using this expression. So I might not know what makes an unstoppable founder, but I know one when I see one, right? And those guys are a good example. They are always creating things. They never once thought about stopping because they didn't have a tech team. They were just doing it. They didn't care about objections. They didn't care about disadvantages they might have because they are non-technical. They actually didn't have the disadvantage because they are unstoppable. The most dangerous assumption a non-technical founder can make is that they are somehow worse off by being non-technical. That's the worst assumption you can ever make. I made it when I was a non-technical founder and I wanted to create a crowdfunding platform. Crowdfunding didn't exist in Brazil, and I really thought I wouldn't be able to do it unless I had a technical founder. And I fortunately decided that wasn't true. That assumption was wrong, and that led me to being here actually.